Most gimbals have associated smartphone apps that enhance gimbal performance by allowing phone control via the gimbal and via the app. The free Moza Genie app is the app associated with the Moza Mini-S and is available from your app store. Let's take a look at the features and functions of this nice little gimbal app. So I've got my phone mounted in the Moza Mini and the Moza Mini turned on. And as you can see, we've got the app display up here right now. And so if we start at the top left corner, you see that the phone battery is just about full. And then there's no information about the battery for the Moza Mini, and it says no Moza, which means we haven't connected yet. So we're going to drop down to the lower left where there's that little red dot by the Bluetooth marker, and we're going to connect. So we're just going to touch it, and then Moza Mini comes up. We're going to touch that, and then now we're connected. And you can tell that now down in the lower corner, the lower left corner, you can see that the gimbal and the phone icon is there, and the battery is full for the Moza Mini. So those are the two battery indicators over on that side. If we move to the top right, you can see I've got it at 1080p with 30 frames per second. I've got my flash off, and then the camera icon has the little movie camera type icon to show that the photo mode or the camera mode that we're in is video. Now let's move down to the lower right. You see the red dot. That's to start and stop recording. You can of course start and stop recording using the center button of the wheel on the Moza Mini-S. The gear will open up the menu. We're going to go there in just a minute, and then the two circles with arrows on them will switch from the front camera to the back camera, and so those are those icons in that corner. And then over in the lower left, we've got a couple of icons. First, the little hand with the word off means that gesture control is off. So if you were recording yourself, you had the camera and the Moza on a tabletop or screwed into the top of a tripod, you could turn the gesture control on and give it a, your basic peace sign, and it'll start, and then you could hold up your fist to the camera and then it will stop. So it'll do some basic gesture controls. The little scene there in the very low left will take you into the gallery mode, and then I've already mentioned the Bluetooth has connected, so you see that icon there as a second icon, and then the third icon I'll touch here just briefly, and that'll move you into the tracking mode. And so if you wanted to track, you could just draw a picture, and then the camera working together with the gimbal will try to keep that in the frame. Now, you can do that one of two ways. You can draw the box around whatever it is you want to track, and if what you're tracking moves, you can stand still and the gimbal will follow it, or you can draw it around whatever you want to track and you can move. And so, for example, if you wanted to walk around a statue in a courtyard or something, you could be the one that's moving instead of the item being the one that's moving. But regardless, the tracking mode works that way. All tracking modes, this artificial intelligence or AI tracking modes, need some good contrast. So make sure that whatever it is you're choosing to track has got some good contrast with the background. In other words, if you're in a nice wooded park, you don't want to be wearing camouflage shirt and pants and expect the tracking to work. So I've got these two items in the middle. The first is going to be kind of where we're going to work the focus. And you can put that where you want it, and that way you can work through some of the focus and then the exposures on this circle. And so you notice that when I drop the circle down in a dark part of the frame, the entire frame lightened up a little bit. And so that's a quick way to adjust the overall scene exposure. So let's take a look here at the menu for just a minute. Again, this isn't a full tutorial, just kind of an overview of the app. So we'll go into the menu here, and so you can see it kind of works on an arc around the right-hand side. So if I wanted to switch cameras, I could touch that. The little caret icon over on the edge causes the menu to go away. So if we want to go there, we can switch the camera from the front camera to the back camera. We can move into our playback mode and move into the gallery. We have what's called a spirit level, and when we do that, it'll try to, keep things level for you. You can see in the bottom corner that there's a spirit level diagram that activated there in the little red dot, so you can see whether you've got your device and your tripod all leveled up. Let's go back here. We'll turn that off. Next, we'll move into the flash mode. If we click on that, it gets a second concentric ring, and we can make the choices. So we've got no flash, we've got auto flash, and we've got flash on. Mostly I'm going to do video, so we're not going to use the flash. We'll leave it there. So we can go into anti-shake, and that will crop the image down a little bit if you're able to use the anti-shake with the phone that you have. And by doing that, it just kind of digitally gives it some room to move the pixels around a little bit to take the last bit of shake out of the video that the gimbal might not have been able to take out. Here we got into our shooting mode. Again, we touch shooting mode. We've got the camera, we've got video, we've got time lapse, we've got motion time lapse, and then we've got slow motion, which will change the frame rate to a high frame rate to allow you to do slow motion type videos. The motion time lapse, if you touch that, it'll give you some instructions for either using the gimbal control or for using the display here on the phone. And then not only will it do time lapse, but then the gimbal will move to follow the tracking line that you defined by using these plus signs. The next thing you need to do is specify your shutter interval. You can do that by moving the button here along, and so that's the intervals between. For a lot of short shots, you're going to be using, a half a second interval. We can take that down to 0.1, 0.6. We get to the next step. We're going to define the total duration of the shot, and it goes here from about a minute all the way up to 3 hours. And so you could do a star shot kind of thing at night if you wanted to, following the moon as it goes across the sky, if that's what you were trying to do, and so forth. Okay, we're going to get out of that here. We'll go back to our menu. Now we're in time-lapse photography. Time-lapse works kind of the same way as the motion time-lapse did. And then again, we're going to go back into our video mode. That's what we want, so we'll keep it there. In our professional mode here, we can make some exposure compensation, we can work on our white balance, and we can work on our zoom. So it gives you more manual control of your camera. Next, we have the resolution selection screen. I've got it at 1080p right now, but this is going to change depending on what your camera is or your phone is capable of doing. So this Galaxy S10 can do 1080p, it can do 4K 30, it can do 720 30, it can do 1080 120, 720 120, 1080 240, and 720 240. So those 240 frame rates are going to allow you the opportunity to do some pretty nice slow motion work. You can just record in 240 and do the slow motion work by remapping the time in your editing software, or you can go into your slow motion here and have the slow motion work done in the camera, and then the clip will be in slow motion as the camera exports it. The next thing we're going to do is take a look at the grids. You can either have it empty like I do, you can put an asterisk, You can do a 3x3, which is basically, if you like to keep in mind the rule of thirds, that would be a grid that could help you keep the right thing in the right place in your screen. You've got 3x3 plus the diagonal and then a central point. Here we can go into some scene setting. The original M2 is a beauty scene, so I'm sure it enriches flesh tone kind of colors. Color invert causes everything to get kind of funky back and forth. Let's see what that looks like here. You can see everything's backwards in terms of the color wheel, so that's color invert. And neutral density kind of turns everything into a grayscale. Let me go to the original, go down to neutral density, and you can see that it becomes kind of gray, and you know what neutral density filters do too. A camera, if you were to put a neutral density filter on the lens, this is kind of simulating that digitally. So we'll go back to the original again. Here is the focus mode, so we can touch it. Infinity focus, autofocus, macro focus if you wanted to get in real close to something, continuous focus in video mode, or continuous focus in picture mode. We're going to leave it at infinity. Infinity focus basically gives you a range from just a few feet in front of the camera to infinity, where everything else within that range is in acceptable focus. If you wanted to dial that in tighter, you could use the continuous focus and identify what it is you want to focus on. This is for the Bluetooth microphone. I don't have a Bluetooth microphone, but you've got that here. This is for live streaming, and in so doing, you're able to connect like to Facebook Live or set up a live streaming channel. I don't live stream, so I haven't done that. And then the last one is just the privacy policy. And so we can get out of this menu by pressing that little caret key, and now we're back to that main screen. So that's what we've got right here. Now with the Bluetooth connected, I want to show you one other thing on this icon that's kind of important. So when you touch your Bluetooth with the Moza Mini-S connected to the phone, you've got the zoom speed that you can change. You can do a calibration, and you can do a disconnect. And so there are a couple of choices there that you can make. So if you want to change the speed at which the camera zooms in and out, this is where you can do it. You can do a calibration, and it'll give you some pictures of how to set the gimbal down on a table and allow it to calibrate. And then of course you can disconnect the Bluetooth from the Mini-S. So that's a quick overview of the Genie app. Playing with it is going to be the best way to deal with it. All your recordings are digital, so if you have a bunch of them when you're done, who cares? You can delete them. As you can see, the Moza Genie app is a very cool smartphone app to use with the Moza Mini-S. Be sure to take a look at my overview of the Moza Mini-S gimbal. I'll link to that video at the end card at the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, please click on the thumbs up button below the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. Click the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching.